A potential great series turns into a good series for the Mariners as they drop a dud today, 11-3 to the Houston Astros. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post game recap. The Astros defeat the Mariners this afternoon 11-3. The Mariners fall to 53 and 46 on the season. They are 4 back in the AL West, 1.5 up on a playoff spot in the American League. As always, before I go any further, like the video, comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new or lurking to the channel. As always with series where you lose the last game but win the first two, it is an important thing to remember or important reminder. This was a good series for the Mariners. They came out of the All-Star break, the team that is directly in front of them in the American League West, and they gained a game on them, winning 2 out of 3. That's good. Keep doing that at that pace. Good things will happen this season. That also doesn't mean that today is not very disappointing. I would say I would encourage you guys to try and look at this as the first game. If you are upset about the series, try to look at this as Friday and then Friday as today. And you'd probably feel, really good about this series overall, and it wouldn't leave the kind of sour taste in your mouth. However, this was a very winnable game for the Mariners, and it looked like it was going to be. They were up 3-0. Brian Wu, again, looked dialed in. Houston's dealing with so many injuries offensively and then didn't have Paredes today. It looked like a game the Mariners were kind of going to cruise to like a 3-4-1 type win, get out of there with a sweep, and be 2 games back in the American League West. As I talked about yesterday, this one kind of a 2-game swing for this team. You win this one, you're 2 back, and I'll be honest, had they won today, I probably would have said I think the Mariners win the American League West. With all the injuries Houston's dealing with, the Mariners having probably more chips at the deadline, I would have felt very confident. I still think they can, but now I'm back into the, you're 4 back here. And every time the Mariners are like close to kind of, not that this one would have like surpassed Houston, but kind of like maybe knocking them off their perch. They just seem to not win like these games, where they can just kind of put that knockout blow. They can never seem to do that, especially against the Astros. The Astros always seem to find that way against the Mariners to just kind of go, not quite yet, or not at all. Maybe we'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, and that does make it frustrating. And the fact that, they had the lead in this one. They just didn't come out and get thumped. And they did pretty well against Hunter Brown, who's been outstanding this year. They chased him after 4 innings, giving up 3 runs. If you would have told me, Brian Wu through 4 innings was dialed in as always, and Hunter Brown was going to give up 3 runs in 4 innings, I would have told you the Mariners win this baseball game. They got a little sloppy in the 5th inning, obviously. Wu was not great. Walks Taylor Trammell, gives up the big double to Cam Smith. But then you have JP dropping that pop up off the bat of Shea Whitcomb. You've got to make that play. You make that play, this game might change a lot. Little things on that Cam Smith double. I can't remember the last time the Mariners have made a tag at home plate. You had, I think it was Dubon and Whitcomb running back to back. It felt like Garver could have gotten a tag on the trail runner there. And then you go to the bottom of the 5th or the 6th, I forgot which inning it was, and you get Mastroboni thrown out at home. So a couple plays right there that changed it. So you just take all that into account, and it is disappointing to finish it up like this. Now, the Mariners just played 6 games against the Tigers and Astros and went 5-1. That is really good. This is a good series for the Seattle Mariners. This should not be a, oh my gosh, panic. Now Milwaukee's coming in red hot. What are we going to do? They're going to tailspin and start sounding off the alarms. This is not a game that should do that. This is a good series for this team. But it is a frustrating finish, and that's what it is to me. It was a chance to really make this AL West, again, 2 isn't dead heat, but also you would have been 2 games back. I don't know why I have my sunglasses on there, probably because I was just outside. You would have been 2 games back, and you would have had the tiebreaker. Now you're 4 back, and you're dead even 5-5 with Houston. So you could still win the tiebreaker for sure, but even that right now you don't have at the moment. I'm not sure who has it. I think it goes on division record. I'm not sure who has the better division record this year. So, all in all, a very frustrating game for the Mariners, but a good series. I think that's how you can sum it up. Going to be tough. Milwaukee is coming in here red hot. I'm not sure if they won today. You're going to face The Miz on Tuesday, so that won't be easy. Maybe Milwaukee, I think they've won 10 in a row. Maybe they're due for a loss. Teams don't usually win 13 games in a row. It's rare. So maybe you kind of, you're certainly not catching them at a good time, but maybe you're catching them at a time where they're just kind of due to drop one here. eventually. So we'll see what happens. They're going to have Kirby, Gilbert, and Castillo. So you feel pretty good about that. Kind of funny that the Mariners with the rotation, we were all kind of like, what are they doing? Going with Logan Evans in game 2 and not having Gilbert and, Kirby and then Wu game 3. And it's funny, Castillo great on Friday. Evans wasn't great yesterday, but they won the game. And the one game they lose is the one that Brian Wu starts. It does go to show you never know with baseball. So let's go ahead and dive into the box score here. If I can scroll down, start with Brian Wu, 6 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 and 1 walk, 6 Ks. Gave up the 2 home runs. Of course, Taylor Trammell hits one. He had a big game today, and Christian Walker got him too. Wu was great through 4. We've seen it a couple times this year. He did this against Baltimore and Arizona, where the guy's absolutely dialed in, then just kind of loses it. The JP error didn't help. The Cooper Hummel ground ball could have definitely been a double play. I mean, that was certainly, a possibility with maybe a better throw by Young or something like that, or a little more zing on the ball. Maybe Hummel just beats it out. There's nothing he can do. But Cam Smith gets the double, and then they do get out of that inning. But then next inning, Christian Walker and Trammell go back to back there. So, Wu's got to finish those starts. We criticized him during the Baltimore and Arizona games that, he looks great, but just has those couple innings. Kind of been some of the bugaboos for the Mariners pitchers this year. But, I mean, obviously Wu's been fantastic this season, no doubt. But against an Astros lineup that, listen, no disrespect as always, but without Paredes, without Pena, without Alvarez, this is a lineup that was, Cam Smith's had a really nice season. Altuve's good. Caratini's solid. Walker hasn't been great. Diaz is okay. Trammell, small sample. Dubon's okay. Hummel's not very good. McCormick's been struggling. Combs not very good. Like, it's a lineup that Wu should be able to get through that. With 3-0, they should have held that. I'm not saying they should have shut him out, but they should have held that lead. Casey Legumina was awful. He was great last night, then awful today. 1 inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 1 walk, no Ks. I would think they're going to make a roster move, get a fresh arm up here. Maybe it's Saucedo, see if 2 lefties can help you. We'll see what they end up doing there, but I can't imagine Legumina sticks. It's just been, he's fine. Is your last guy out of a bullpen type of guy. They're all going to be kind of generic relievers, but Legumina just brutal today. Yeah, killed any chance of maybe coming back in this one. And then I'll be honest, I kind of turned off my brain watching it. Burgos pitched 2 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, no walks, 2 Ks. I mean, it was 9-3 at that point. So, whatever. Brian Wu threw 91 pitches, 65 strikes. He continues the streak, 6 innings in every single, minimum 6 innings in every single start for Brian Wu. So he does get through the 6. I mean, Wu was good. It wasn't that he pitched bad today, but, some defensive stuff behind him and then just couldn't kind of regroup there. Even in that 6th inning, you keep it 3-3. Who knows how this game plays out? So he's got to do a better job there. He wasn't terrible by any means, but had a chance to, have a great game and ended up having, a mediocre to below average one. Offensively, the Mariners do collect 10 hits, 2 walks. They do strike out 13 times. I mean, 7 of those against Brown. They did a pretty good job against Hunter Brown. Shortest outing of the year for him, only 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Brown's been fantastic this year. They definitely struggle against the Astros bullpen. Some of that, I'm not going to get on them too much because it was 8-3, 11-3. At that point, you're just kind of padding the stats a little bit. And they would have had another run if Mastroboni hadn't been thrown out. I had no problem with Christopher Negron sending Mastroboni there. I think maybe a little bit better slide gets in there. I even think it was tough to say conclusively he was out. I did think he was out. I thought the tag got him, but I didn't necessarily see enough evidence to go, oh yeah, that's overturned. But his foot didn't really get on the base either. So I don't know. Didn't have a problem with that send. It was a brutal one though, in terms of costliness, because you would have had Julio up and JP on second as the tying run. So definitely, like I said, Garver not being able to tag one of those runners on the Cam Smith double. And then, and it looked like they had a chance to get the lead runner, and then both of them score because they were on each other's tail, and then Mastroboni throwing out at home. Certainly a game that ends 11-3 is not necessarily a game of inches, but, it could have certainly changed the tides of that game a little bit. JP was 2 for 5. Again, the big blunder was that drop of the pop-up. I get going back. It's not the easiest thing to do, but man, you make that. I wonder, I always say in an alternate universe with these things, I do wonder in an alternate universe if JP makes that catch, if the Mariners win this baseball game. Julio was 2 for 5 with an RBI single. That made it 3-0. Really felt like that was the big hit. Cal was 1 for 4 with a base hit and a walk. Did leave some runners on, had a chance in that bat, I think, in that fourth inning to really open it up. Tough against Hunter Brown. Cal kind of scuffling a little bit, but, still getting on base a couple times. Randy 0 for 4, first time I think we've said that in forever. Polanco 1 for 4, and the one was a big one. Two RBI single there in the third inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Polanco's been a good signing. He's kind of really started out hot, then really tailed off, but overall he's bounced back, and Polanco has been worth the money in my opinion. Tough day for Luke Raley. He was 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. Mitch Garver was 1 for 3 with a base hit and hit by a pitch. Did not look happy about it. Canzone was 1 for 4. He's had some rougher swings last couple days where he's looked a little bit more 2024 Dom, but still getting in the box score and checking in. Then nice game for Miles Mastroboni, 2 for 3 with a walk. He was on board 3 times, and he got the party started there in that third inning. Unfortunately, that slide at home, maybe just it was also a great relay by the Astros. They did that perfectly, and they needed to cut the run down. So you got to give credit there as well. So, not like the worst offensive day. It's tough to judge it too, because they did well against Brown, and then, they didn't do much against the bullpen, but then some of that's when the game got out of hand, a little bit. So listen, there's perfection, which would have been, that sweep this series, and that's as good as it gets, right? That's the best case scenario. This is still a good series. They won 2 out of 3. This should be a positive for the Mariners. They gained a game on the Astros. You chip away, right? Next week at this time, get it to 3 back, and you can slowly kind of make your move. 2 would certainly feel better. This could have been a perfect series. It wasn't, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It does not mean this was a bad series for the ball club. Tough loss, because it really did feel like at 3-0 they were going to win this. It's not like they just got blasted from the first inning and you go, whatever, throw it away. They had a chance to win this game despite the final score and didn't. That is frustrating. That's going to be frustrating, guys. And gals. Was that game number 100 today, actually? 53 and 4, 99. Tomorrow's game number 100. There is no loss that isn't going to feel a little like, ooh, they're all going to sting. We're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty here. It sounds crazy, but 62, 63 games left. It's a lot, but it's also not. So we're getting into it now. Every loss is going to sting. This one probably hurts a little bit more than a loss against the Brewers would hurt. But you just got to rebound and continue to have a good homestand. The team's playing good ball overall. They're 5 out of their last 6. Cool off Milwaukee, win tomorrow, and go from there. Take it one day at a time. So they just can't get to 9 games over 500 either. I think 8 is their high watermark. I think they've had 4 or 5 chances to get to 9 this year and just haven't found a way. We're also 11 days away from the trade deadline. If there is a breaking trade news, I will come on and talk about it. I'm just not great. I can tell you who I think they're targeting. I don't know the values. I think guys like Gino Suarez, who are rentals, are not going to be quite as costly as some people think, but also not as cheap either, because it's had a great year. And also Chance Dimebacks don't sell. So I'm not great with what the prospect values are going to be, but I will always do my best. If there's a trade, I'll come on and talk about it, because we could see one here soon. We're getting to that point where trades can happen very, very quickly. I'm about to say Mariners win. Mariners lose. See if they can win tomorrow. Just, as always with this team, don't let it spiral. We've seen this team let it spiral. Don't do that, and you can bounce back. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.